Hey guys, it's JG, and today I'm going to be doing a review for Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 12. I will have a certain part of this where it's going to be spoilers, but if you haven't seen this episode, you could listen to the first little bit. I do recommend, though, that if you haven't seen it, you should definitely go see this. Stop what you're doing and watch this episode. Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 12, In Dreams, in my opinion, is one of the boldest episodes in the Walking Dead franchise. Yet, in my opinion, it does pay off with a very devastating conclusion. The episode is directed by Michael E. Stratismus and written by Andrew Chambliss, Ian Goldberg, and Nazreen Chowdhury. If I mispronounced any of those, I'm sorry. I'm still learning names. Satramis has directed many episodes this season, including but not limited to The End is the Beginning, The Door, and Things Left to Do. In Dreams opens with Grace suffering from memory loss. The world feels familiar yet very different. We slowly find out that things are not as they seem and lives are in danger. Grace, with the help of a new stranger, Athena, who's played by Sahana Srinivasan, again, apologies if I mispronounced that, must discover what is going on before it's too late. Overall, I love this episode, and I think it adds to the list of the top tier of episodes from this season for the series as a whole, but also the franchise, like all of The Walking Dead. Instantly, what caught me was the visuals. Like, you definitely see in the beginning, I think there's like pink colors and they're super bright, and the foliage is just, it's unlike anything that we've seen. And you notice that something, though, because of how bright and how everything just looks off a little bit, you know that there's something not right. And by the end, though, it does make sense and you're left with hope, but then it's crushed. But even though it's crushed, there's still just a little bit of hope. Just a little bit. I will say now, moving forward, it's going into spoiler territory. So if you've seen this episode, stick around. If you haven't, pause, watch it, and come back. Okay. When we first meet Athena, it only took me a few moments to realize who she was and what was going on. Like, there was some connection between the two that I was like, oh, that's her daughter, that's her child. Like, even though that we thought that the child was going to be a boy, or they thought that it was going to be a boy, instantly I was like, that's Grace's daughter. And that wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just an observation that I had, that it was, for me personally, it was pretty quick to catch on to. I loved seeing the possible future for the rest of our cast, specifically seeing Dwight and Sherry have a family. It personally broke me. If you've seen my reactions, you know that I've been getting pissed off with Sherry and how she's treating Dwight. And then you also, if you would have watched the reaction to this, you would have saw me start crying whenever we saw that they had kids. And the nice little callbacks to their names being John, and then the one person that they met with Negan, which I forget on the top of my head right now. I thought it was also really powerful seeing Morgan fight for his family in the real world, along with Grace fighting through her subconsciousness. I thought that was very powerful imagery and symbolism. We see Morgan as a very, he's become someone he will defend outwardly, and how Grace is more internal. And like, that's kind of represented through this episode and how that is portrayed, and through how she is fighting subconsciously and he is fighting physically, and how, but they're both fighting for the same cause. They're fighting for their family, they're fighting for their future. And I thought that was so well done. Throughout the episode, I did have a gut feeling that something was going to go wrong and that we were going to lose both Grace and Athena. I was not prepared to lose just Athena. That honestly, like, shook me. I was just speechless. I had no thoughts. I tried crying and then I couldn't cry because I was crying. Like, I was so overwhelmed that tears could not come down my face. I was a mess. And I have to say, like, Karen David, who plays Grace, give her an Emmy nomination. Give her the Emmy Award. Oh my gosh. She brought it. The amount of range that Karen brought in this episode alone, from hope to anger to heartbrokenness to joy to fear, like the amount of emotions that she went through in this episode and that she was able to portray. And there was even physical elements, and like, Karen David, amazing. This episode leaves me with hope that the groups will come together for whatever the key will unlock, which is now in the possession of Riley, who's obviously looks like he's one of Teddy's top men in the End is the Beginning cult. I will say that I feel like that was a major part for this, was to kind of close the chapter right now on Grace and Morgan having a child, and also move in officially now these people who are presumably in a cult or in an evil group. They now have the power in their hands. So what are we going to do? Do we come together, put aside our differences, or do we just let all heck break loose? I don't also want to be a Debbie Downer, but I also have a feeling that Grace is not 100% safe. Something just seems a little off to me. With a season of so many twists and deaths, anything can happen at any point, which, in my opinion, has brought new excitement and life to the show. I cannot express how much I've enjoyed this episode, despite it being very rough and emotional. It gave us a sense of hope, yet also reminded us of the dark realities of this world that our survivors live in. I'm eagerly awaiting what happens next, despite the part of the story ending. The story moves forward as it looks like the enemy now has the upper hand. I do give this episode a 4.5 out of 5. I do want to know, guys, what do you guys think about this episode? Did you guys love this as much as I did? Did you not hit? Was it emotional? I know for a lot of people, this is actually going to be a really hard episode, because this is something that people do go through. I have friends who go through this, who have gone through this, and it is very heartbreaking. I could never imagine. And so I hope that this can open conversations, and we could be there and support each other and love each other through these. And that even though this is a story that we are experiencing and these characters aren't real, the things that these characters go through are things that do happen to real people. So again, thank you guys so much. I'm very excited to see what happens. Again, if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, keep an eye out for the next reaction and the review for Fear the Walking Dead. Have a great day, guys.